Hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf. Well, this video is going to be reviewing the new Hornby resin models, the Scaledale models of their factory. So this is the front of the factory in Westwood in Margate. 70 years they've been there this weekend, and as a celebratory thing they've taken 15% off all of the stock that's in on some of their lines, and yeah, they give 15% off for the weekend to celebrate 70 years of being in this building. Well, a few days have passed and I'm back in the workshop, and I'm going to start this part of the video with this model here. So I built this probably six months ago, maybe a little bit longer. Bought it from eBay from one of the sellers. It's a homemade kit, 3D printed windows, printed onto card for the building here. Puts together as a kit and builds the front of the Margate factory. It wasn't terribly expensive. I think it was about a tenner. Went together reasonably well, and it looks quite good on the layout. And as a result of having this building, I had no intention of purchasing the new Hornby release, which is here. However, with quite a few Hornby hobbies points, sort of burning a hole in my pocket, for want of a better word, and a weak moment, having seen the packaging for it when it was released, I relinquished and purchased it. I'm really glad I did, actually, because I do like the packaging on here. I think the box is so well done with the 70 years of Margate emblem on the side there, and then Triangle Railways written on there, and Hornby Westwood office building, as you can see. Now, these aren't very cheap. There's £43 these are retailing at, but as I said, I had the hobbies points, so actually I didn't pay an awful lot for this. And whilst I was down in Margate last week, walking through, having a look at their sale items, I only found the other building actually in the Hornby sale. So although this building is £29 normally, I paid I think it was 21 for this. There doesn't appear to be anything wrong with it. It was just happened to be in the sale counter. So we'll do each one of these in turn. Let's do the office building first. So in terms of the box, on the back here, got a little schematic of the building, telling me about the accessory, this one. So just a little picture there showing the accessory building that forms part of the factory. And then I've shown these two sides, but I'll show them again. So the model is R7395, 00 scale, and it's a resin model of the factory that I showed at the beginning of this video. So with that said, let's slide it out the box. I haven't actually opened this yet, so I don't know how good or bad the model is. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. So let's slide this out and let's have a look. It's a nice size and quite weighty. Actually, I do like that. That's very nicely done. Yeah, that's a good size model. Really could have done with some scenery inside. That's my first reaction to this. Now, if I go back to my cardboard one here, this did actually come with some printing inside. I don't know whether it's showing up on the camera. Let me just stand up. Yeah, you can just see inside there the background printing. But obviously with this, when you look through the doors, the only thing that you see is the Made in China sticker, right prime and central to the building. So yeah, it could have done with some sort of interior put in there. But overall, the decoration is pretty good. And the painting looks relatively good. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not bad at all. The Hornby logo, though, I can see the Hornby logo has not been put on straight, which is rather annoying. Yeah, my eye's going straight to that every time. It's only out by a fraction of a millimetre, but it's enough to really sort of show it there. And you've seen from the video, a little bit of artistic license here with the goods in and goods out. You've seen from the beginning of the video that, yeah, there's a little bit of artistic license there. But there's a couple of things on here that my eye keeps going to. All the windows, when I'm looking down on them, they seem to have, it's almost like it's a rough edge to them. I don't know why that is. Top of the building looks okay. I mean, as I say, it's reasonably well painted. But there are areas on here with quite a poor finish. Yeah, that's not good. Not for the price. I mean, this isn't a very cheap model, and yeah, you can see the paint on the top there, just sort of smudged around. And at the bottom here, it's not been finished right to the edge. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to find all the positives in this and struggling a little bit. So yeah, I'm sitting here thinking £43 and trying to find the positives in here. and struggling a little bit, and I'm afraid to say I'm a little bit underwhelmed. The quality is just not quite there, not compared with some of the other Scaledale buildings that I've seen. This is you know, quite roughly painted, and yeah, I'm not sure. Right, let's put that one to one side because I'm gonna really spoil it if I carry on thinking about it. And let's open this one, keeping in mind that this one was in the sale. Oh, broken the polystyrene as I tried to get it out of the box. Right, well, first impressions are the finish on this one is, well, I say it's better, but look around the door frame here. I don't know if your camera's picking that up. It's just kind of, feels like there's a paint thrown at it. And again, all up underneath here. You know, if you're going to advertise something as hand painted, then, you know, it does need to have a hand painted finish on it. And I hate to say it, when I buy a model from the likes of Hornby, I do expect it to be better than I could do. And yeah, with my average modelling skills, I think I could easily do at least as good as this, and dare I say even a little bit better. So in terms of the factory, obviously this will be the front building with the offices, and then you have a series of these sitting from behind. I'm just going to include a bit here from the video walking around the Hornby Visitor Centre where I filmed up at the ceiling, and I was reviewing this while it was on the shelf. Show this, get some footage of the front of the building. You see this building here, that's the one we're actually, well, we're in the factory behind, which they do here, this sort of greenhouse effect. You can see that, I just pan up at the roof. You can see the roof, it's got this sort of effect on the top. So yeah, this is the building that we're actually in. Right, well, I'm struggling for words on this one, so I'm going to use my crib sheet. My first impressions of this, I'm underwhelmed. I'm not going to be sending them back. I think, you know, this will be quite a nice little collector's piece as long as Hornby don't do what they've done in the past, which is just keep releasing and re-releasing and re-releasing. Yeah, I will be keeping it, but yeah, it's not quite the quality that I expected. So yeah, indeed, a little bit underwhelmed. So firstly, a credit to the Hornby website for this information that I'm about to read to you. So Hornby began creating educational toys for his sons around turn of the century. In 1901, the name Mechanics Made Easy was patented, and thus the Meccano company was born. Sales continued to accelerate, with the company having to move to larger premises, until in 1913 to 14, Hornby took the decision to build a new factory on a plot of land at Old Swan. That was large enough to allow for continued expansion for the foreseeable future. Hornby founded the Meccano Guild, with Meccano magazine promoting Meccano and the company writing whimsical stories set in Meccano land. The Binns Road Liverpool factory assumed a mythical status, and for many this is considered the true home of Hornby. The first railway product was introduced in 1915 under the name Raylo. However, by 1920, railways were a key part of the Meccano line, and advertising announcing the finest series of clockwork railway ever made was released, and 100 years of Hornby history was born. In the 1920s, the clockwork train set became the first in a long line of railways. These sets were available in 3 liveries and featured an 040 locomotive, paving the way for the hobby. By 1925, electric versions of the train sets were introduced using a 20-volt AC system. In 1936, Frank Hornby passed away and Roland Hornby became the chairman. By 1938, Hornby 00 was launched and the gradual demise of the O-gauge had begun. During the decade, the system went from 20-volt down to the Hornby 00 12-volt DC. Following on from the end of the Second World War in 1945, Hornby 00 remained low in the company's priorities, but production began to pick up. 1946 saw the formation of Rovex Plastics Limited. The company released the Rovex train set in 1950 and would soon become one of Hornby 00's biggest rivals. By 1954, Hornby 00 received its first completely new post-war locomotive. It was around this time that the first steps into Margate came, not from Hornby, but competitor Trying Railways, part of Rovex, who built a modern and highly efficient factory in Westwood. As we know, this would later become the home of Hornby, and for those not familiar with Binns Road in Liverpool, I guess the Margate factory over the last 70 years has become synonymous with the Hornby name, and indeed considered home to Hornby for many of us collectors. By the end of 1960, Hornby 00 introduced 2 rail locomotives and track, and although the Hornby 00 range continued to expand in the early 1960s, competition became a problem, with multiple manufacturers releasing train sets at a fraction of the price. Finally, during the 1960s, Hornby O gauge was phased out. Hornby 00 range gained the new ring-filled motor, but despite the continued product growth, Meccano Limited were facing financial trouble. By 1964, Meccano Limited joined Lions Group, who already marketed Triang, and this saw the 2 rival systems merged under the name Triang Hornby. Rovex Industries Limited was formed as an umbrella company in 1967. The Margate factory saw products from many different markets passing through the production line, including products from overseas. Despite Triang Railways being a reasonably successful member of the group, Lions Brothers collapsed in 1971. The following year, Dumby Convex Marks Group took over and renamed the model system Hornby Railways, and the Binns Road factory finally closed in 1979. Things didn't go very well for Dumby Convex Marks. It entered into receivership in 1980 and resulted in a management buyout and the business becoming a public limited company. By the mid-1990s, the company had been facing stiff competition, which led to cease of production in the UK. Over the next 4 years, all of the tooling was moved out to the Far East, and this saw the closure of the Hornby Margate factory. So in the mid-2010s, the company decided to close the Margate factory site and outsource the distribution to a facility elsewhere in Kent. The same year, the offices were also relocated to Discovery Park in Kent. Despite the move, the visitor centre remained on the site at Margate. Just 4 years later, the offices returned to the original 1954 Margate site to rejoin the visitor centre. And now we see the site move on with the future as a one-to-one collection is gradually being assembled in the old Margate buildings, and hopefully looking forward to that one to open. And hopefully in not too long we'll see a full-size railway museum on the Hornby site, along with the visitor centre now known as Wonderworks, and also the building that's the subject of this video, the offices there, where the design work for Hornby still continues to this day. I've been dwelling on this for a little while as to why I'm disappointed in this. This should be a flagship product for Hornby on the 70th year. Very expensive thing itself. I'm going to bring in this fire engine model. So this is another Scaledale building from Hornby. And if I just show you, I'll bring it up closer. Look at the quality around the windows. Look at the painting across the front here, around the door. It's all pretty good. The brickwork goes right to the floor. You know, the guttering is all picked out. It's quite nicely done. And you can see this top window, the actual quality showing through, which is how these buildings should be presented. Now, if I bring this up to the camera and just show you this end window, you can see the way the painters, I just feel it's just been thrown at it. I mean, you know, I expect these models, these completed models, I'm going to repeat what I said a minute ago, you know, these should be better than I could do. They're hand painted. I know they're going to have blemishes in there. I know they're going to have imperfections, but this is the kind of standard I'm expecting. And I'm afraid this just isn't to the same quality. Right, let's try and wrap this video up. So, opening this up, I was underwhelmed. There are things on here that are excusable, such as getting the badge on, you know, or the Hornby logo here, not getting that straight. Some of the painting is pretty shocking, and this all comes back to the price point. £43, this should have been better. It just should have been better, as simple as that. Now, if this was price point at £20, probably could have accepted this, and you know, that would have been a good thing to have. But little things would have made the difference, like putting a piece of card in here with some sort of office scenery, or maybe a desk or whatever, much the same as this, would have made this model much better. And you've got to keep in mind, if you want to, you know, put this with the buildings across the back like this, you're talking, what, 4 buildings, so you're in for £120 there, plus this being £43, so you're in for 160 odd quid to have the full factory on your layout, which is an awful lot of money. Am I disappointed in buying it? Well, I like the box, I like the idea of it, I like the fact that it's commemorating 70 years in Margate. Don't really regret buying it, but could I recommend it to you? Hand on heart, probably not. Anyway, we're going to leave this one there. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and why not check out the channel? There's lots of other videos on there, and if you can subscribe, I'd be really grateful. And with that, I'll just say thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.